The Trump campaign yesterday hosted a black business roundtable in Atlanta. It was actually in an Atlanta barbershop. Here to tell us the real story, House members Wesley Hunt from Texas, Byron Donalds from Florida. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time on a busy and important day. Wesley, I want to start with you. What happened in there? Now, as far as I know, the campaign sponsored this small business venue, as I understand it, in a barbershop, if that's true. But then you had a surprise guest on the telephone because Mr. Trump loves Byron so much he wouldn't let Byron get off the phone. What happened exactly, Wesley? How'd this thing work? And what did you all talk about?
Well, I want to start off by saying this. President Trump is a harbinger of black excellence. And to be in a black barbershop talking about the issues that impact black America, that, by the way, also impact all Americans in the exact same right, it was an honor to be there. And the coolest thing about it was when President Trump called into Byron and he sat on the phone for 15 minutes. Now, how many times has a former president actually taken time out of his day to make a phone call to a barbershop to talk about the issues that impact the black community the most? It was an absolute honor to be there and to share the stage with Dr. Ben Carson, my good friend, Byron Donalds, and myself. It was absolutely outstanding. We talked about the border. We talked about the economy. We talked about small businesses. And, of course, we talked about no tax on tips, which directly impacts every single working class person in this country, specifically barbers. So if you can imagine, it was an electric time. Happy to be a part of it. And I'm so glad that my boy Byron was with me.
Byron, you know, by the way, I couldn't get 15 minutes on the phone with Mr. Trump, so, you know, he just loves you. But the other thing I want to ask you, Byron, what did the people in the meeting have to say? What kind of stuff were they asking? You know, what was the center of gravity as you saw it?
Hey guys, I'm going to close.
Wesley covered a lot of it. Obviously, the economy and inflation, but also we were just talking about politics and politicians. You know, we've been talking about how Donald Trump, what he's focused on is an agenda for all Americans. Whether you want to talk immigration, you want to talk education, you want to talk the economy, no tax on tips, etc. He's been focused on all Americans. And then the other fact that did come up a little bit is, where is Joe Biden? Where are the Democrats? They really are not anywhere to be found because their agenda has been destructive of this country. And then we got into media bias and some of the things that media does in their coverage, not just of Donald Trump, but quite frankly, all Republicans and conservatives, and how they will try to dice and slice words to try to make somebody seem that there's something that they're not. At the end of the day, great conversation in Atlanta with black business owners to hear directly from them. And then when Donald Trump got on the phone, everybody had an opportunity to ask their question of him. Totally unscripted, totally impromptu. It was a great event, something that the American people need to see a lot more of.
Well, you know, that's right. Wesley Hunt, it's so interesting to me. In this campaign, Mr. Trump is going into the neighborhoods. He's up close and personal. He's not speaking to this group or other groups from a distance, you know, or, you know, some kind of fancy place or hold up in Camp David. There's nothing wrong with Camp David, but to spend a week there preparing for a debate is not a good idea. My point is, I think Jason Riley's written about this. Other people have written about this, too. Mr. Trump is the first Republican in memory to actually go face to face and speak with these groups. And it seems to be paying off, Wesley. If nothing else, it's a symbol of how the GOP has changed.
It most certainly is. And President Trump went to the Bronx. President Trump went to Philly. President Trump has surrogates all across the country speaking on his behalf. Where are Joe Biden's surrogates? He has no surrogates. And I love the fact that we can actually draw this contrast with people like me and Byron and Dr. Carson to go out here and be a surrogate for President Trump in our community. But the most interesting part about yesterday was this. President Trump's mugshot came up. And in that barbershop was a never surrender mugshot of President Trump prominently displayed behind us during the entire conversation, and President Trump had no idea that it was in there. People are waking up to what is going on. Black issues are American issues. We are sick and tired of being looked over. Again, we hate the direction of this country. We had 4 years of President Trump. We had it good. Biden has been a complete disaster, and now we have an opportunity in November to make it great again.
Byron, I'm going to give you the last word. I always give you the last word, Byron Donalds. I got 30 seconds.
Byron always gets the last word.
Byron always gets the last word. Byron, will Mr. Trump get this message out tonight? Will he get this message out tonight?
He will, Larry. Simply put, he's going to be able to do that because Joe Biden doesn't have a message. I'm here in the spin room. I was asked a little bit ago, is Donald Trump going to level personal attacks? And I said, au contraire, the personal attacks are going to come from Joe Biden because he's got nothing else to stand on. Donald Trump is focused on the prescription that's going to get our country great again. He's going to be great. He's going to be great tonight, Larry. You watch.
That's the way I see it. He's going to have an optimistic, positive message. Biden, whatever Biden does, I see it. You guys, I agree with you guys. The rest of the media says no, but I think you guys have an inside group and as superstars, both of you, Mr. Wesley Hunt, Mr. Byron Donalds. Thank you ever so much for your time. Good luck tonight.